Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacqueline. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacqueline at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. We are currently 29 live broadcasts strong each week, and we would love to hear from you. So please go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio, and subscribe. Join us in our mission to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Our show today is the art of creating mental health wealth. And joining me from across the world in East Africa is Jenetta Barry and the Epiphany Process. Welcome to the program, Jenetta.
Hi, Dr. Jacqueline. And thank
Hello.
you. It's so lovely to be connected across the world like this.
It definitely is. It's an absolute miracle. Sometimes I'm in shock when you and I are corresponding on WhatsApp. It's like seconds from when I send a message and you get it and you write me back. I'm just like, this is amazing. Technology is amazing, especially when it works.
It is, especially when the people using it work, like the one couple I sent to you last night that worked for you. It was for another Jackie.
I know, you were right. Oh, can we stop by? I'm like, you could stop by if you want. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get here, but Jenetta, you have been doing so many incredible things, and I want to just honor you and pay tribute to you because I know how much you have on your plate. I know you are in the midst of organizing an incredible world event, World Jenny's Day, that's going to be taking place for 17 hours, coordinating people from all over the world into various time slots for World Jenny's Day that's going to be here on October the 10th. And you just completed a safari bike ride to help support your work in the charity. Tell us about the bike ride.
Oh, wow. What an experience. The bike ride was born over a year ago during lockdown when I had a team of 16 people. And for those of you who know about Jenny and the story and Jenny's 7 and 9, she died at 16 and numerologically 1 and 6 is 7. So last year we had 16 people working in many directions. And one of the things that came up was I'm very artistic. I'm a performer, a dancer, used to be a singer, and sports and exercise I find generally quite boring. But my clients who are helping me and other people said, come on, let's do something that's not just about theatre and the arts. And we put together this whole safari a year ago. And it was going to happen a year ago. And then there was a big argument between the Kenyan government and the British government over COVID, and Kenya shut down all people coming from Britain. And most of the people who were going to come to that ride were coming from Britain. So we postponed it to this year. And what an amazing, amazing experience it's been. It's a fundraiser for World Jenny's Day, which is held every 10th of October, using theatre and the arts to celebrate mental health, wellness, and normalize and soften conversations around depression and suicide. And it's been phenomenally successful each year. So I went along this year. It's held in Kenya, and we're going to be holding it annually. I went along this year having assisted with the planning, not spearheading it, but assisting with it. Absolutely determined I wasn't going to ride even, because it's just not my scene. I haven't ridden a bicycle since I was a child. I've not trained, and I normally dance ballet, and I haven't danced ballet for quite a few months for various reasons. So I'm not fit either. So I was going to sit in one of the backup vehicles until I got there. And then I went, Jenetta, you're talking about stepping out of your comfort zones as part of mental health wellness, and you're sitting waving your hand like a royal going, hello everybody, whilst you ride your bike past me. And so I decided to ride. I didn't do as much as everybody else did, but I was pretty proud of myself. So it's been such an experience. And Dr. Jacqueline, it's my honor and pleasure to be able to share that experience with our viewers and listeners today, because it was held over 6 days. And when you see these pictures and these videos, it's really quite a feat.
Jenetta, it's amazing. I love your transparency and how you're sharing, hey, I'm not fit. I haven't been doing this. I haven't been doing that. And mentally, I don't even feel like I could even go there. But yet you said, okay, I'm not being true to what the mission is. I need to jump in and get involved. And I know when we saw you last week, you were really recovering from sitting on that seat for so long. How are you doing now?
It was so sore.
Like you
I
still
don't
had the seat
remember it.
attached to you.
I don't remember biking being, I mean, I used to bicycle everywhere in my school holidays. I grew up on a coffee farm here in Kenya. So I used to bike through the coffee and go everywhere to neighbors. We all lived on 5-10 acres of land. So to get to neighbors was a bike trek. And I don't remember it being quite so sore, but oh my word. And not only that, I think because I wasn't fit and I did 41 kilometers, because I wasn't so fit, I got back. And I think Andy, who my partner, who used to be a very big bodybuilder, he just said, you're suffering from muscle fatigue, because to just get out of bed, I had no energy in my muscles. Get out of the car, I couldn't move my muscles. I felt like the Queen talking about not having mobility at the end of her life. That's how I could not move my arms and legs. They weren't sore, they just had no energy in them or no capacity to move. I've never experienced anything like it. So next year I am training properly.
Yeah. I have a spin bike here behind the green screen, and sometimes I'll ride it for a couple of hours and I literally have no feeling in that area or my legs. It just goes numb after you're sitting for so long. So maybe it's as we get older. I'm not really sure, but I really appreciate.
I didn't quite catch you.
What? But I really commend you, because it's amazing what you've done. We do have a guest who's trying to get in, so I'm going to spotlight you and help our guest get here.
All right.
And take it away.
Okay. So welcome everybody to a little bit of insight into what World Jenny's Day is. World Jenny's Day was born actually only 3 years ago, or even though I lost my daughter, 16-year-old daughter Jenny, 17 years ago this year, to suicide after she and I started to have a conversation that escalated into a screaming argument. And she left in such a rage, saying she was packing and leaving home. And I went to find her because I sensed something wasn't right. And I found she'd taken her life in her shower. And to be very open and frank, my whole life went down to ground zero in that moment of finding her, in every direction you can imagine, apart from my marriage, that everything, even financially. And I really didn't think I'd actually get through it or wanted to get through it. It felt like I was having a lifetime or going through a lifetime emotional prison sentence, stuck in a deep, dark emotional hole. It was so isolating and lonely. And I couldn't imagine it. And to cut a longer story short, I forgot that I had choice. And I started once I realized I didn't need to be that label of the mother who lost a child to suicide after an argument, that there was still choice. I started researching and studying and walking the walk and talking the talk, and got myself through it. It took a long time. It wasn't easy. After all, I didn't have a Jenetta to walk me through it. But I've been able to help thousands of people all over the world with the process that I now call the Epiphany Process, or we now call the Epiphany Process. But in addition to being able to do that, we realized several years after Jen died that she'd actually died on the 10th of October, which is World Mental Health Day. And that synergy had something special that could be created with it. So we now have World Jenny's Day on the 10th of October, which is World Mental Health Day. And on that day, we use the opportunity to soften and normalize conversations around depression and suicide, and using theatre and the arts. So we are going to have performers from all over the world. We've got New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Kenya, South Africa, UK, USA, and Canada. And they're all going to come up and spontaneously perform in celebration of mental health wellness, because we have a medical approach to all illness, that one is broken when one is ill, and you need to treat the symptom, the symptom and not the cause. And more people on a physical level are not doing that with their health anymore. And the same applies with mental and emotional challenges. When we can start realizing that being mentally and emotionally challenged is something we all experience at least once in our life, if not regularly, some in more extreme than others. And once you've got the skills and techniques to manage those challenges, it's a whole different conversation and a whole different world. But whilst we go around feeling that people who are compromised are broken and need to be fixed from something or someone outside themselves, then not that I'm saying that those won't help, they will, but they're not the answer. Whilst we go around with that stigma of depression and suicide still surrounds many, many people today. So we've noticed that in presenting everything through theatre and the arts, it softens that conversations and opens people's hearts to look at being compromised through depression and suicidal ideation is not as serious as we give that stigma, or that stigma gives it. And so that's what this year's World Jenny's Day is going to be doing. And we've got plans for next year. Watch this space, because Dr. Jacqueline and I have some big plans for next year. But in the meantime, we had a fundraiser 2 weeks ago here in Kenya with somebody very special who is joining me now. He's managed to come in. He was on Mombasa Island a couple of hours ago and wasn't sure whether he's going to make it or not. But I'm really, really pleased to be able to introduce you to Chris Angel. Now, Chris has been running bicycle safaris throughout Kenya and East Africa, and even outside of Africa, in Australia, and I think he even mentioned to me Dubai, but he can correct me when he joins us. And what an amazing, amazing man he is. He's very close to my heart, apart from the fact that he is one amazing human being. But he's married to Janine, and Janine and her sister Sharon were at school with me here in Kenya. So we go way, way, way back. Their child, Chris and Janine's children, their daughters were at school with my two boys. And you know, it just goes on and on. So without much ado, I'm going to actually introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Angel.
Chris is in here. He's not here yet. I apologize.
He still hasn't, because he was trying to get through.
Yes,
Ladies and gentlemen, not Chris Angel.
Chris Angel is not here yet, but you do have some visuals that you can share while we wait,
I
yes?
do.
Okay.
Let's do that. So I'm going to start off. First of all, we had 7 people on this safari. And that wasn't by design, because it was open to bigger numbers than this, but we managed to get 7 because I believe on an unconscious level it was an important number to have. But next year we're going to have 79, because 7 and 9 are very, very important numbers with World Jenny's Day and Jenny. But 7 on its own, we had 7 people there. And the first one was a paraplegic man that came through from Spain. I met him in Nairobi, and he and I traveled by train from Nairobi to a place called Voi, which is in between Tsavo National Game Park West and Tsavo National Game Park East. And the reason why there are 2 Tsavos is that the main Nairobi-Mombasa Road cuts it in half. In fact, it's actually the Mombasa to Kisumu Road right up into Uganda. It's the main arterial road through Kenya. So this is where we got to, and Chris and Janine met Miguel and I at Voi terminal station, and drove us all the way to almost the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. It's about 88 kilometers, he was saying, to the most in fact, what I thought I'd do is, first of all, I would show you the bike ride itself, the itinerary, so you can see what it is we did. I'll go through that very quickly with you now, so that you get it. So that once we go through these pictures, you'll really get an idea of it. So let me go here. We're there, and I'm going to share that. Okay, can you see it, Dr. Jacqueline?
Yes.
Okay, so there we go. So these are pictures of exactly how we did it, but I'll show you in more detail. There's the map of where we went. It was 300 kilometers from the west of Kenya by the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro right through to the east of Kenya to the coast. That's what we did over 6 days. This is Chris. So even though you're not hearing him in person, here he is. So we had that. We had backup vehicles to help us. That's what I'm showing you in video form. There's Mount Kilimanjaro, and that's where we started off from on our first night at a place called Ziwani Camp. And Ziwani Camp, as you can see, there's a lady sitting there. In that water, it's filled with crocodile and hippo. And when you sit there, all the hippos, I think I'm getting really good at impersonating animals, but all the hippos are going, whoa, 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 and amazing. And we had bush babies in the night in the trees. We could hear hyena in the not too distant far distance from where we were staying. We were in tented camps. You can see there, it was a wonderful way to start our first night as we gathered as a team of 7, got to know each other, and looked forward to the next day, where we met after breakfast. We all had breakfast together. And then Chris measured us up for bikes, and we went on. Yes.
By the way, there's a very good hippo imitation. What is it that keeps the hippo and the crocodiles from coming to attack or getting out of the water?
Okay, so you see in front of that lady?
Yes.
There's a chain there.
Chain?
That's a chain. That's it.
They can't go under the chain?
Not the hippo, the crocodiles might, but there's plenty of food there where they are. They're not really very interested in us. Maybe if there was a drought and very little water, we might be a little bit more interesting. But
Okay.
we're not easy meat. There's much easier meat there.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
and also there are guards and so on all around, watching that we don't get too close to that chain. That's a bit of an optical illusion there. That lady sitting, it looks like she's on the chain. There are
Mhm.
many meters between her and that chain.
Okay.
Many
Thank you.
meters.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next day we all met. I'll show you that just now. And we from Ziwani, we went through to Salt Lick Lodge, and we traveled through not only tarmac road, but also dirt road, and had an amazing experiences, which I'm going to show you. And then we got to Salt Lick Lodge. You'll recognize this when I start showing you the pictures and the videos. But Salt Lick Lodge is up on stilts, and it enables the buffalo and all the game actually to come right up close and personal. You can just about safely touch. You wouldn't touch the elephant, but they can't get hold of you there. And but you're right up and close and personal. You can smell them, you can hear them breathing, and you can hear them sucking water up. It is amazing. And I'm going to show you, hopefully, if this all works, I'm going to show you from my bedroom window, with the elephants right down below my bedroom window at Salt Lick Lodge. It was just amazing. And as you can see, I'm saying here, the Salaita Hill 1916 Battle of the First World War battlefields. I'll tell you more about that just now. Then the next day we carried on, part on tarmac and part on dirt. And we went from Salt Lick to the most amazing lodge called Hildana Lodge, which is actually on a sisal plantation. For those of you who don't know sisal plants, they provide the fiber for rope. For hundreds of years, it's the fiber for rope that was used for ships' ropes or whatever ropes. And then, of course, nylon came in, and actually it nearly bottomed out in the market. But of course, now nylon is not so popular, and sisal is coming back as the better ecological choice. And Hildana, I believe, is actually the Latin name for sisal plant. So they've created a conservancy within this sisal farm. And it's owned by people I know as well. That's what I love about living in Kenya. I don't know everybody, but everybody knows everybody. And so Hildana Lodge, in fact, I'll tell you more about Hildana right now. It's been kitted out in the most beautiful way, with the Arabic influence from the Kenyan coast and the African influence mingled together. It's been done so beautifully. I think you can see that in the picture on the right. And that whole plan and interior design was put together by two people in business here in Kenya, and the one is Mandy Parkinson, and Mandy is a huge advocate of the Epiphany Process. She and Steve lost their daughter 3 years ago to suicide. And they've been walking the walk with the Epiphany Process very, very intimately, and done so well with it. And this is her production. They did this a year ago, she and Tara Fitzgerald, her partner. So that's Hildana Lodge. Then the next day we went on to Sotao, and that was amazing too. It was a tented camp, and we had it's so open. There's absolutely no fencing around that camp. That to go from your tent to the dining room or the lounge, you have to flash your torchlight, and wait for somebody to escort you to the main tent because it's too dangerous. So, there's always measures in if there aren't enough precautions and so on. And that was amazing. And that was the night I was going to go live with all these shows, because it was the Wednesday night. And we were really in deepest, darkest Africa there, because there was absolutely no connection to internet or even to our service providers. We were really cut up. It was amazing. It was really amazing to know we were in the middle of nowhere. But it didn't enable us to present on that night live. Then the next day we went on through to Kulalu Camp, which was on the banks of the Gulana River that flows through Savo East. And we're going to show you a little bit about that. You can see somebody swimming there, and right there is the river, which is also full of crocs and hippos and all sorts of things. And then on the final day, we cycled through to the Kenyan coast, and I think you can see just how beautiful that coast is. It's powder white sand beaches and beautiful coral reefs. And this is also owned by friends of mine who his mother was my kindergarten principal, and she, the wife, worked with me many years ago in direct sales. She was one of my managers, so very special to be part of that as well and have them part of that. And so that gives you an idea of where that came from and how that all happened.
Absolutely stunning.
It is amazing. So now you've had that interview, let's go through to the very first slide I want to share with you. I just need to check I'm in the wrong window. There we go. Let's put that down there. No. Oh, this is interesting.
You're a technology whiz as well.
I hope so. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share this. And this is us starting out. This was that after breakfast, after our first night. I mentioned to you we all had breakfast, and we said we would be kitted out. So here we are. We're missing a couple of people in that picture, but one of the things I wanted to share with you before we go into who's standing there is you can see me standing there with the bike, and in my hand is the enormous and beautiful World Jenny's Day bike cycle trophy, which was made by a local Kenyan artist. He made it lovingly by hand. It is absolutely magnificent. You've got to see it to believe it. Everybody, when they see it, goes, oh my word, what a trophy. And it weighs a ton. It's an amazing, amazing trophy. And it was awarded at the end of our cycle ride to one of those people standing with me there. It was just such an honor and privilege to be able to do that. So,
Jenetta, were you riding with it, with the trophy?
No, well, it was in one of the backup cars because it would have got seriously damaged if I'd had it on me. I would have definitely, it's so heavy. I was like weightlifting, just holding it there.
You look so cute there.
And I've got New York City on my front because there's two places I love. I love Kenya and I love New York. My year of living in New York, I just fell in love with it. So I thought it was very apt. But here, 5 of the 7 people, of course, our 7th person was Miguel, who was supposed to ride with us. He was going to, he's paraplegic from Spain. He was going to bring his hand bike and ride these roads with us. And unfortunately, the week before, his hand bike's axle broke, and he was told by the manufacturers of that axle that a new one wouldn't come till September. So he went, I don't care, I'm still coming. So he went as a passenger and watched us all biking and just loved it. In fact, it's inspired him to do more, and I'll mention that a little bit later too. And to my right, your left, is Paddy Nightingale, who lives in Kenya. She lives on a farm that she and her husband Bruce own. They're farmers, and they're also racehorse breeders. And she is 73 years old. And that's her on her e-bike. And to my left, your right, is her great niece who'd come out from Canada. And by her own admission, so much of our first world society tends to cotton wool our children so they don't get hurt, with the result that sometimes it's really difficult for them to make any decisions because they haven't been pushed past their boundaries. And Bridget, what an amazing girl. She's 18. She arrived on this bike, very nervous. This was the bike she rode, going, I don't know if I'll manage this. It's 300 kilometers, and I just don't know if this is possible. And it's standing there. She was very, very nervous. Well, we had to rein her in throughout the 5 days because she kept zooting off ahead of everybody because she was loving it so much. And Chris kept us saying, we have to stay together as a team because elephants might cross the road. But there was no stopping her. She was gone. It was like, Bridget, come back. And the support vehicle had to go ahead and say, pull back, pull back, pull back. So what an amazing story from somebody that just was so scared. And by the end of it, she was a changed person. This was a journey that shifted Bridget. She was talking and interacting and more self-assured and starting conversations rather than waiting for somebody to speak with her. She was a different person by the end of those 6 days. So if World Jenny's Day has done nothing else, this cycle ride has done it for Bridget. What an amazing girl. And then to her left, our right, is Chris Angel. And he also rode and did his 300 kilometers and completed it. And on the other side of him is Janine, his wife. And there's a little bit of a story about them a little bit later if we've got time. So there we go. That's the first part of getting going. And then here, can you see it? No, I need to share it, don't I?
Yes.
Here is the bike rack that went on the back of one of the support vehicles. And as you can see, it told everybody that they need to slow down if they were following us, and to make sure as they overtook us that there was 2.5 meters between bike and car or vehicle. And that was the start of our journey there. And so the next one is, these are always, oh, right. Okay. So now we're starting to get going, and we finally get to the World War I battlefields. And this tree is very, very significant. It's completely hollow inside. Some of you might recognize it. It's known as a baobab tree. And it was used in the First World War because Kenya was a British colony. And in those days, the country, what now known as Tanzania, was called Tanganyika in there then, and it was a German protectorate. And there was a woman from Kenya, or I think she was actually from Tanganyika, German lady, and this is the battlefields where the Germans and the British fought, because the Germans were trying to take over strategic parts of Kenya as part of winning the World War. And Britain was keeping them back in Tanganyika. And somewhere along the line, her German soldier fiance got shot, and she was so flaming mad that she joined the cause and put steel pegs into this baobab, climbed in. You can see there's a hole halfway up there. She climbed in, and in there there's a little slit in the tree. She placed her gun, and she killed many British soldiers, and they couldn't work out how anybody was shooting at them and killing them, until they realized that she was shooting them from the tree, and then they just opened fire on her, and she was actually killed in the end. So that's the tree that she was in. Amazing, right in the middle of nowhere, there's this tree. And just to share with you, here's us on, no, I've lost that. Let's go back. There we go. We need to share that one. This is us on the road with the backup vehicles as well. There we go. Have a look at that. So there were 2 backup vehicles behind us and 1 in front. We had 3 backup vehicles for 7 of us. And you can see there's me looking very determined, because I was very sore at that point, going, I'm just looking at the road, and I'm going to go right that stone, and then that rock, and then that bush. And I was giving myself little goals there. So
what was the temperature like? Was it very hot?
It was hot, but there was a cool wind. In fact, our biggest challenge was that a lot of the days there was a very strong headwind. Now, what I haven't mentioned to you is that apart from Alistair Froome and I, and sometimes Chris, everybody else was on an e-bike, and I was on a normal bike. So it felt like as I was cycling, I wasn't moving, because that headwind was so strong. So the heat wasn't as bad as that headwind. It was really quite a challenge for all of us. And then the next one I wanted to share with you. Oh, actually, just to go back one, we might have to finish this another day, because there's so much to share. But this is Alistair Froome. Again, he's only 14. He took all the photographs and the videos. And Alistair is up that tree, and he's actually got a hockey stick. It's not a gun, but he's pretending to reenact this German lady, although he's sitting on the outside of the tree. She was inside the hollow of the tree, but he climbed up the pegs there to reenact it. And by the way, Alistair Froome is the nephew of British cyclist, Tour de France winner Chris Froome. And so it was really special. And he's actually Chris and Janine's grandson as well. So it was great to have him, such an mature 14-year-old. Now, this one is really quite something. I'm going to share this. This is going along the road, and listen to this. That is a cheetah underneath the tree watching us. And we were on a tarmac road. I don't know if you could see him properly, but we were on a tarmac road, and he was very definitely not hungry. He was just sitting there watching us. He was a fair distance. I saw you trying to look closely to that, but he was there and he was watching us. And what an experience to cycle by looking at this cheetah. He was watching other traffic going by, because we were on a main road at that point, a main tarmac road. So, but wow, just I still marvel at that one. In fact, Chris was saying it's one of the best sightings they've had on their safaris. And
cheetahs can run pretty fast, right?
They can, yeah, they can. And then this one is what we call an olive baboon. And that's at Salt Lick Lodge. He's getting into the litter, into the trash, and he's helping himself to all sorts of food. And Salt Lick Lodge is that one where we are on stilts. And that night we went into the bush and did a night drive. It's the one place you can do night drives with permission. And this is one of the pictures that Alistair took with his camera. Just look at that.
Wow,
That's
that's like a
isn't that
professional
fabulous?
photograph. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
he's going to go far. And that was actually a lion cub. There were 5 lion cubs that we watched for hours on a kill of buffalo. I'm going to show you that as well now. Look at this kill of buffalo coming up.
And just for our audience to know, StreamYard requires you to share, and then as soon as you go into the next thing, you have to unshare, and then you have to reshare. So that's what Jenetta's doing. She's a master here.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I don't know about master, but I'm certainly getting there. Slowly but surely. And so here we go. We're going to share. This is one of the cubs on the buffalo kill. Look at this, as the sun was setting.
Wow.
So we were right there. They were playing with that buffalo. They'd had a lot to eat, and they considered that it wasn't needed anymore. So until the next day, and I'm sure that night the hyenas came in and had their fill. But
wait, so they killed the buffalo.
It looks like the mum and 5. She was teaching them to kill and eat as well. So yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so now the next one I'm going to share with you is, it's gone off my screen, please bear with me, is when we got the next day to Hildana Lodge. Now that's the one where Mandy Parkinson has done all the interiors. And Hildana Lodge, I'm just going to put that down there so I can get to it. Oh my word, this is quite something. Where in the world has StreamYard gone?
And Jenetta, while you're looking for that, just so you know, your Talking Heads episode is coming up in 18 minutes.
14. Okay, thank you for that. I will bear that in mind. Okay, so here is Hildana Lodge for you to have a look at. And here is Miguel with Bridget. Have a look at that. Just so beautiful, with the elephants, the hills, the different sisal plantations are out of sight, but surrounded by sisal plantations.
Really amazing.
Just something else. I just want to see one of the last things I think I'll share with you is this, and perhaps who our winner was. So here, look at that. This is us crossing the Mombasa Road. So to our left, as we're watching that picture or looking at that picture, is Savo West. And to the right of Janine, who's in yellow, is Savo East. And that's the main arterial road from Mombasa to Nairobi. And everybody's waving. And there is a wildlife crossing corridor there to help the wildlife crossover to and fro. So that was an amazing experience too. And then I just wanted to, because we've got a whole team of backup people as well. But I just want to give acknowledgement to this lady. I think it's there. Oh gosh, here's a crocodile that we fed. another time. There's Miguel, Bridget. Please bear with me. I can't actually find it. So I'm going to share this one. This was us arriving at Watamu. And I can divulge to you through that one. We were just about to get on our bikes and do a ride of acknowledgement through to the hotel, Ocean Sports Hotel. So we all got on our bikes and videos were taken, which I wasn't able to upload. But as you can see, Miguel's there. There was a wonderful place, by the way, where we took him up a huge rock. The backup crew carried him up that big rock, but we haven't got time for that today. So he was very much a part of what we were doing and who we were. And to his left, our right, is again Paddy Nightingale. And this lady was relentless. She rode and rode and rode. She achieved her 300 kilometers at the age of 73, and it was a no-brainer because we felt that she really deserved this trophy. And so we awarded her the floating butterfly trophy, and she will be getting a miniature of it over the next few weeks in acknowledgement. But I wanted to say, last of all, as I do a final share here.
Has she been training for this ride?
She has been training for the last 2 years. She's had her bike, so she was very fit, but still it's a heck of a feat, really.
Sure is.
Amazing
Accomplishment.
And so just to give you an overview, there we are next to the hotel by the sea saying, hi, we've made it. There's Alistair Froome in the middle, and Bridget from Canada, Paddy, me, and to the right, hiding behind the tree by accident, is Janine. And I wanted to acknowledge Janine as well, because Janine has just survived cancer. Breast cancer. She was so ill with the chemotherapy. She went into a bit of a coma and she had to be in hospital for a while. And she's revived, and she did the whole 300 kilometers. So, wow. It was amazing. Everybody had an amazing story there. Amazing story.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Jenetta. First of all, the fact that you have people from 18 to 73 doing this ride, and
14 actually. Alistair was 14. Yeah,
14.
He did 300.
Oh, I didn't know he rode too. Okay. And the view and where you stayed, what a fabulous experience.
It was amazing. And in fact, we had one I haven't been able to share with you, which was right on the banks where the crocodile came up, and people were, you're not supposed to, but we were feeding the crocodile. Amazing experience. An experience of a lifetime. So I really do encourage you. We are doing this again next year, and it would be wise to get in now. We're going to have 79 people, and I've already got people saying this looks fantastic and we really need to be a part of it next year. So if you would like to be a part of it, we would love to hear from you. You can get hold of me on worldjennysday.com. There is a place where you can contact me, or you can get hold of me at Jenetta, Jenetta, at theepiphanyprocess.com. And we'll mark you down as a part of next year's ride. I really highly recommend it. If you want a life-changing, mind and emotion-changing experience that you will never forget, this is one. And I want to say to you that Miguel didn't manage to ride, but it inspired him to get a very special hand bike so that he can hand bike up Mount Kilimanjaro next year with Chris Angel. Chris has given him that challenge, and he's already starting to get the funds together from the Spanish government and other people to get that special bike. And World Jenny's Day has motivated him to do that. And I'm so honored and pleased and proud that that's happened.
Congratulations, Jenetta. I mean, this undertaking, just planning this I know I was in the event space for years and I wasn't a planner. I sold the programs, but it's a huge undertaking. And then you have to have plan B and plan C, because things always come up and they happen. So well done, you. Really well done.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And just, all of this has been possible because so many people believe in what we're doing. And that goes for you too, Dr. Jacqueline. Thank you so much for your belief in me, in this project, and everything that we're doing, because it means the world to me. And thank you.
Well, thank you. I believe in what you're doing, and I'm super excited that some of our team members here at USA Global TV and Radio are also getting involved. And I know Madeline Chan's been working behind the scenes, and Alcini's just committed. I think Mariska is going to be joining. So
Ricky
it's
McKenna is another one.
fabulous. I'm glad to hear that. Really
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's very special.
We have a wonderful group of people here. So, Jenetta, your show is coming up momentarily. Tell us what you'll be speaking on today on Talking Heads.
Talking Heads. This one is can be a contentious subject, but I really am one that knows about it. And if anybody can speak contentiously about it and be qualified, put my teeth in, be qualified to be contentious, I do believe it's me. And we're going to talk about birth, life, and death. And also that there's a stigma attached to dying, and how to get over one's fears and judgments about death and dying. And it's all part of the Talking Heads series. I'm one of many Talking Heads with USA Global TV. And it's an honor and privilege to be sharing how to get over either your fear of dying or your fear of someone close to you dying. I mean, we've just got through, for us in Britain, through the loss of the Queen. And it's been a really very interesting phenomena as we've watched people attaching the energy of that amazing lady as though she was their family. And so we're going to be talking about all of that, embracing it, and taking the first steps to, again, normalizing death and dying. So I look forward to seeing you on the other side of this program. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline.
Thank you, Jenetta. We're going to be signing off right now. We'll be back momentarily. I'll be producing the show. And then after that show, we're coming back with Global Adventures, also with Jenetta and her son, Neil. And then Jenetta will be rounding out the day with the Woman's Prerogative. Hopefully, she will still be awake later on today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which is her 11 p.m. So thank you, everybody. We look forward to seeing you in just a few minutes. Bye for now.